Unlike the scarce remains of Olmec writing, a full body of texts in a single script for any Native American culture appeared for the first time among the Zapotec of Oaxaca. Many of these texts come from Monte Alban, which will be the focus for this part of the video. Anthropologist Javier Urcid noticed that Zapotec writing began between 500 and 300 BC, and it was not only among the earliest but also among the most dynamic and enduring scripts in Mesoamerica, with up to 14 centuries of continual use. Many of the world's writing systems work at a distinct level of grammar, from the individual sounds in an alphabet to the morphemes found in logographic script. Logographic script represents morphemes, the basic units of meaning in a language. An example of morphemes in English: it, in, vigor, ates them. The morphemes in this sentence specify number, gender, and case for the pronouns, and action and tense for the verb. This example shows that English words can be built from a single morpheme or several. If you'd like to discuss other examples, please drop a comment. Logographic scripts use characters to represent these morpheme units, and the characters in such scripts number from the hundreds to the thousands. Examples have included Egyptian hieroglyphs, Sumerian cuneiform, Chinese Hanzi, and returning to the Americas, Zapotec glyphs such as these. Scholarly consensus is that every Mesoamerican writing system used glyphs at the logographic level to some degree. This happened especially when treating calendar signs as individual morphemes. The 20 days of the ancient calendar are ubiquitous to writing in Mesoamerica, and knowing how to look for the numerals and signs has been an important step in understanding what parts of a text were talking about calendar days, and what parts were describing the events that happened on those days, the when and the what. Drawing from research by Javier Urcid, I based the decipherment of Zapotec glyphs on two guiding principles. First, the glyphs represented elements of grammar from a specific language. And second, the specific language expressed in the glyphs was an ancient form of Zapotec, related to the native languages still spoken in parts of central Oaxaca today. Urcid proposes that the images of the calendar-related glyphs strongly correspond with Zapotec names used by the 16th century, especially for days and years. Because each calendar glyph stands for a distinct unit of time named in the Zapotec language, and therefore each a basic unit of meaning, it supports the case for reading Zapotec glyphs as a logographic system. On display at the Monte Alban Site Museum, these two stone monuments are numbered Stele 12 at left and Stele 13 at right. They were originally set at the end of the Conquests Gallery at Building L, and they date between 500 and 300 BC. When read together, they tell a historical account, according to Joyce Marcus and Kent Flannery. With some liberties, the following translation is based on their reading. In the year 4 lightning, the chief, firstborn of his line, acted, on the sacred day 8 water. The chief, born on the day 10 jaguar, seized his enemy, second-born of their line, on the 4th day of the month. Archaeologists have named the final glyph W for its shape, and it is an important character because of its possible yet unclear relation with the 365-day solar calendar. John Justison has proposed that it could be counting days within a lunar cycle. The texts in these two glyphs may therefore have one of the oldest references to either the solar or lunar cycle in Mesoamerica, indeed in the entire New World. Monte Alban was an early example of an architectural scheme that would appear over and over in Mesoamerican cities. The marriage of military domination with astrological alignment guided building projects. To conquer the lands, you must look to the stars. No better structure embodies this idea at Monte Alban than the so-called Building J. Shaped like an arrow pointing in a direction skewed from the rest of the platform, the building's walls boast panels engraved with images of conquest by calendar signs. You may remember a previous episode of the Codex Mendoza in this writing systems playlist. In the first chapter, I explained how the Aztecs could depict conquered cities with a burning house attached to a glyph, each identifying a community by a combination of signs. The images on Building J of Monte Alban used a similar principle. Glyphs specify locations, and the upside-down head represents the ruler of each, defeated and brought down beneath the might of the Monte Alban Zapotec. We will use this Building J detail as an example. The first element to find indicates that the glyph set is showing a community. Like the Mixtec codices of centuries later, Zapotec glyphs used a stylized hill to specify a settlement. Sprouts flanking the upper corner suggest that its land was especially fertile. The tri-spiral glyph at top identifies the community, a place probably within Monte Alban's vicinity. The inverted head denotes the community's fallen leader, and a date glyph at the very bottom marks when the conquest took place. Its hut shape resembles the glyph for the day that the colonial Zapotec called La, corresponding to the day sign of reed plant in the Aztec calendar. Behind the bottom edge are remains of the number 8, counted by 3 fragmentary dots and a bar for the number 5. Read together, the glyphs tell that on the day 8 La, Monte Alban conquered a neighboring community with ample land. The next episode on Native American writing systems will begin our look into their most iconic expression, Mayan glyphs. Join us for the following installment.